The DCU, the DCU, the DCU, the DCU. What is up, welcome to the channel where I talk, you listen. I'm your host, Anonymous, and welcome to DC Thursdays, where we separate the heroic capes from the abandoned scripts. Oh yes, give me more Batman, now, right now. Who doesn't love watching Bruce get abandoned over and over again? In this world, in that world, Elseworlds, too many worlds. See, I've already lost count. Let's dive into the top DCU headlines that's at least big enough to get your attention. So, Superman 2025 is now streaming on HBO Max as of September 19th. That's a couple days ago. So if you haven't gone and seen the movie, you can now watch it in your living room or in your bed, whichever one you prefer. Now, most of you here already know how I feel about that new Superman movie. What's that? You want me to tell you again? Okay, 2 thumbs up and 2 thumbs down for those of us who walked out of the movie with a frown. Some complained it was a bit overstuffed, like Superman's costume pockets had too many characters. Oh, that boy rich. But so far, it's doing its job. It's set the foundation for the new era of Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. Okay, next up, The Batman Part 2. Now that Robert Pattinson's Batman isn't going to be absorbed into the DCU, he's the stubborn, dependent teen who refuses to move in with the Gunn's Saffron family. Matt Reeves confirms Pattinson's Batman stays in the Elseworlds, which basically means that Robert Pattinson's Batman gets his own apartment. Nice, exclusive, separate. This decision officially puts a line between the DCU Batman and the Pattinson Batman. So if you were hoping to see Superman and Pattinson sit down for coffee, it looks like they're in different time zones. Your crossover fanfic forums may regress a little now. Third on the list, we got Clayface. This is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. This is DC doing body horror. Yes, body horror. For those of you who don't know what body horror is, let me explain. Body horror is the subgenre of horror fiction focused on the grotesque and disturbing transformation, destruction, or degeneration of a human body, creating fear and disgust through graphic depictions of diseases, mutilation, mutations, and the unnatural changes. Any of those may occur at any point in time. So, Clayface is scheduled for September 11th, 2026, and it's going to be the third film in Chapter 1's God of Monsters. Directed by James Watkins, written by Mike Flanagan, produced obviously by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Now here come the plot teasers for Clayface. Matt Hagen is an actor whose face gets disfigured.
Thanks, Shady Experiment.
And ends up becoming Clayface. Thank Ghoul, thank Identity Crisis, thank mirrors rejecting your reflection because you've turned into pudding. Pudding. No, I'm just kidding, I hate pudding. Too thick! Rumor also has it that they're dropping Zatanna. Either it's foreshadowing or someone found an Easter egg and won't stop posting it on Reddit. Why this matters? The DCU is showing that it's willing to lean R-rated, darker tones. Not everything has to be heroic speeches, and some stories are messy, tragic, clay-covered, and fans seem excited for something a little bit different. I know, because I'm one of them. Fourth, Kara Zor-El is back, played by Millie Alcock. This version isn't just capes and shine. The Woman of Tomorrow inspired space epics, and yes, revenge. After her father is murdered, she goes on a galaxy-hoping quest. Crypto is along for the ride, and misbehaves, as dogs do. Also, Lobo is coming. Yep. That means Jason Momoa, my friends, as Lobo. So expect some cosmic brawls, loud chains, probably a dog pun or two. And that sets up more cosmic states for the DCU beyond Earth, shrinking that small Superman-only feel. If you were skeptical about Supergirl's tone, this one's going darker. Because what's DC without dark undertones and high expectations? Okay, so the last story here. Let's see what's cooking behind the scenes. DCU isn't just Superman and Clayface, they've teased heavily that the Justice Gang, the Brave and the Bold, the Authority, there's a lot of those going around, and more are on the pipeline. So what's the idea? Ladies and gentlemen, the entire purpose of this is to build up a whole web of heroic teams and villains and do things together. Once upon a time we had that long ago when we first entered the MCU. Now they're doing it in the DCU, which means we're going to be getting all of those great comic book characters that we love so much from the DC universe on screen together, and that, my friends, is worth waiting for. I'm telling you right now that the people who are hating on this film and on James Gunn are going to, in a couple years, they're going to change their minds. Because there's going to be such an epic cinematic universe of so many characters that come together that we've never seen on screen together, rather than just being in one movie and being separate from one another. They're going to be all on screen together. We might get the Justice League Infinity War, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're building up to right now. And a lot of people don't realize that, but I'm here to tell you. And that's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We also know that, but since the DC has such a bad reputation for consistency, people do not believe in James Gunn's image or his vision. So we also know that Creature Commandos and Peacemaker Season 2 are already part of the continuity. Peacemaker picks up months after Superman. So they're slowly already filling in the gaps. Leaving those tasty oven toasted with a little bit of salt and butter breadcrumbs. But there's pressure from fans like me who want cohesion. I know that this time around, personally, a little bit more accurate representations of the characters from the Justice League and so on and so forth. Sprinkle in a little bit of that James Gunn powder, you know what I'm talking about? That Guardians of the Galaxy magic? If nothing else, James Gunn knows how to write chemistry between large groups of characters. We can all admit that. Okay, so finally, here's my thoughts. I think it's pretty bold for the DCU to be leaning lighter in Superman, then gradually getting darker the further in they go, with obviously Clayface, Supergirl. But if they pull this off, it's also going to show that they have tonal flexibility. Another thing is keeping Pattinson's Batman separate could be smart. It could avoid timeline headaches, but also it could mean less crossover magic. But again, it also depends on who they decide to cast as Batman, and if they can pull off that Brave and the Bold feel. It's going to be very comical this go round. Now, the biggest issue that I see here is that Clayface is a gamble body horror superhero flick. Either is going to be deeply compelling or deeply messy. And here's why. I kind of diverge paths when we talk about Clayface, and I'll probably do a separate video on this, specifically because Clayface is originally a Batman villain, and I cannot stand, I'm just a little bit nitpicky when it comes to superheroes or supervillains that get a movie before they are introduced with their origin story around the character that they initially started their run with. So basically, the DCU is going to have to deliver on its promise, not just on the hype, because the hype don't pay rent. And that's your DC roundup. Superman's out, the Batman Part 2 stays in Elseworlds, Clayface is going horror tragic, Supergirl's going intergalactic, and the Justice League team looms in space for now, but soon enough we'll find out what happens to the rest of the gang. And who's gonna play Robin? We really need a Robin this time around. Who's gonna play Zatanna? We really need Zatanna this time around. You know what? Just bring in all of Young Justice and the Teen Titans. Bring it all. That's what I want. And how Peacemaker Season 2 connects back to Superman and the story and the tonality of where we're headed next. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe, and comment below. Which DCU project are you most hyped for? And which one, if any, has you tossing your popcorn at the screen before you go see it? Until next time, be nice to each other out there, ladies and gentlemen. Show your boys some love. Peace.